Hello. All right, we're about to get started. Welcome to the We Think Digital webinar 3. Today, we're going to be talking about advocacy, amplifying your voice to lead change. For those who have not met me, my name is Gwen. I'm the new Student Leadership Project Coordinator here at Teach for Malaysia. I'm very excited to be part of this and to be working with y'all. And today, we're going to have very interesting topics and speakers. So let's get started. So as usual, if you want to ask any questions, here's the Mentimeter link to ask any questions or concerns that you have. We will address it along the session. It's also pasted in the chat below. All right, so some norms before we begin. Number one, let's be respectful. You can share your thoughts and perspectives in the chat, but just remember to be kind. And next, we do encourage you to switch on your camera. So feel free to switch on your camera so that the speakers can see who you're talking to. And next is please keep your mic muted so that the webinar can go on smoothly. And next is to be fully present. So do avoid, using Instagram or TikTok or be on your anything else laptops, but engage and listen attentively to the speakers today. And lastly, do be proactive. We encourage your thoughts, your questions, anything you wish to share. Just use the Mentimeter link that's in the Zoom chat. All right, so quick check where we are now. We are currently at the last webinar. And after this, you'll be doing your campaign proposals and then actually executing your campaigns and doing a closing ceremony. And the final destination will be the Student Summit. So the agenda for today, we're going to have a really fun icebreaker coming up after this by our student leader, Umar. A quick recap of the previous webinar, sharing session by our student leader today, the main part of the webinar, the Advocacy, Amplifying Your Voice to Lead Change, presented by Renuga and Jit. And lastly, we just have some wrap-ups of the reflection form, announcements, and very importantly, briefing to the campaign proposal. All right. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and invite Umar to run you through a very fun icebreaker to warm you up for the session. Umar, I'm gonna pass it to you.
Thank you, Gwen. Hi, everyone. Good. Can you hear me? Hello? Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Umar. I think most of you have seen me in the first and second and third webinar. Yeah. There's actually a lot that okay. Hi. In the last webinar, I was the MC. In the second webinar, wait, I can't remember. But okay. In this webinar, I will be handling the icebreaker for you guys today. So yeah, so this icebreaker is, just to keep you guys fresh up and, to get ready and prepared to hear the rest of the webinar. So for today, what I'm gonna do is a simple, quiz about riddles that I'm going to give you on this Slido. Yeah, there's the link. Okay, thank you, Alma, for for sharing the link also. Yeah, so you can click the link there, or you can scan the QR code that I'm going to share right now. Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen? Okay. If you can, then okay, sweet. Let's start our quiz. I have 3 questions for you all, and these questions are simply, they are not that difficult at all. They are very easy, actually. And I would also, invite you guys to open your camera because I would love to see the faces that you are making when you answer these questions, answer these ridiculous questions. So please, if whoever is available to open their camera, then please do so. Okay, without further ado, let's start our quiz. So here's the first question. What is far behind us and can be seen without looking at it? So this riddle, I will show you guys the answer in like maybe a minute, and the answers that you guys put in here, I will show them too, but not now. I will show them later because if I show them in my screen, then maybe some of you guys can copy each other's answers. So I would not like that. So please, it will be interesting, but I really hope that some of you guys don't already know what this riddle's answer is. So because if so, that would be embarrassing. So I've searched far and wide for the hardest riddles ever. Oh, so we already have 30 people who answered. That's interesting. Okay. Maybe like 30 more seconds, probably. Okay, I think that's all. Let's see what all of our participants have answered. Let's show the results. Ah, what's up with you guys? Okay, one thing is that you guys all already know what the answer is. Who answered Bill Gates? Okay, but what's up with this answer? He actually came up with a whole explanation for this. Okay, that's interesting and that's commitment right there. Okay, thank you. So let's move to the second question, which is you see a boat filled with people. It has not sunk, but when you look back, you don't see a single person on the boat. Why? I'll give you maybe 30 seconds to answer. It's just a simple question. So please, let's go. I think maybe this riddle is quite well known also. I'm not sure. Because it's no fun if you guys already know the answers, right? You guys are just too smart for this. You know, that's why you guys joined WTD. You're smart like me. That's why I won. And that's why you guys will win. Okay, let's check out the answers. Show results. The boat is filled with people who are not single. Okay, okay. Okay. There are only a few correct answers. That's interesting. They're all married. That's the answer. Okay. Let's move to the next question, the final question, probably the hardest question ever. On Earth, I am dead, though I live on the moon. I am in no crater, but I'm in every bloom. I cannot move on my own, but I'm in each room. What's the answer? This is a hard one. This is a tricky one, actually. I think I've actually found the one riddle that almost no one knows the answer to. Okay, maybe 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see. Okay, fine. You guys win. The answer is double O. O O. Moon, bloom, and each room. So okay, that's a fun game. But I personally think that it would be way more fun if it's in person. But yeah, it's more or less something that I enjoyed. Double O. Okay, that's nice. I will stop sharing. I think that's all from me. I hope you guys enjoyed that short riddle session from earlier, and I will be taking my leave now. So thank you, Gwen, for having me in this webinar for this short session. And I look forward to seeing you guys again in the future in this competition. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, Umar. We had a lot of fun too here, trying to figure out the riddles, and hope everyone's brain is stimulated now. Thanks, Umar. All right, back to sharing my screen. All right, so with that, let's continue. I'll give a quick sharing on the recap of last week's webinar before we move on to this week's webinar. So last week we had two amazing speakers, Umar, and also Ramesh, to share their journey on tips to successful online campaigns. So Amar shared, the journey of becoming the champion of We Think Digital, and he shared important tips of being authentic and being yourself, and especially knowing who your target audience is, and also leveraging on the knowledge to target this group. And Ramesh, who is a content specialist marketing in the marketing team here at Teach for Malaysia, he also gave many great tips. To summarize, he mentioned how to make your content relatable and able to reach different people, and how it's important to also diversify your content to reach different target groups. So it's important to use your story, narrate your story, and use memorable anecdotes as well. And to make things viral, you can use examples such as the Ice Bucket Challenge, which is how they managed to raise amazing awareness on ALS or ASL. ASL. Yes. So that is last week, the last webinar. And now you know like the tips on what is a successful online campaign. So today, before that, if you want to recap, you can go to SSTP, JP and Sarawak's YouTube website to watch the whole thing as well, if you need a recap. And now moving into today's session, we'll be talking about advocacy, how to put all of this into action. So now I'd like to invite our student leader, Mazira. She is a We Think Digital alumna from 2021, and she and her team made it all the way to top 10. She calls herself a Jill of all trades, master of none, because she does so many things. She loves photography, traveling, but she's also part of so many clubs in her school. Currently, she is post-SPM, but she aspires to be a social science student in the future. So I'm very excited to welcome her to share her experience with all of you. Mazira, everyone.
Hey, hi guys. Hi Gwen. Okay, thanks for the introduction. So today I will be talking about my journey in advocacy. But first of all, my name is Mazira and I'm from Sarawak. I hope there are some participants from Sarawak, right? Okay, so last time I joined the We Think Digital cohort, the first cohort 2021. We didn't win, but yeah, we made it to the top 10, which was still great. But I hope you guys can enjoy my session and hear me like talk a lot, yep a lot. So I'll present my screen. Okay, so hey, okay, I hope you guys are excited to kickstart your journey in advocacy, all right? Okay, so my first topic will be about what is advocacy and why is it important? Some of you might be thinking, oh, what is this word? What is advocacy? Well, let me give you like a simple scenario lah. Okay, let's say your entire school or your entire batch got food poisoning. It's obviously from the canteen, and if like the higher ups in the school is like not taking it seriously, probably they'll be like, oh, it's your fault. Why you buy food from canteen? Why not bring from home? Also, we didn't force you to buy anyway. So you feel like that's not right, okay? Like I have to do something about it. This is not okay. And so basically what you did is you gather up your classmate and talk about it, and then yeah, they agree with it, right? And then so you guys decided to take action. You guys probably tell like a teacher who actually cares, like not only your counseling teacher, but you can tell like a trusted teacher. And then the teacher was like, yeah, I agree with this too. I should probably like get someone from like the ministry help to run a spot check at the canteen or something. So there you go, you made a change. So it's basically like the difference between consultancy and advocacy is like, consultancy is like, oh, I recommend you to do this, that, but it's up to you, like, you make the decision. But advocacy, it's like, you know what, you should really take this action. We should like make a change or something. Actually persuade people to make a change. So yeah. Well, some people say that probably this advocacy thing is radical because it's like you guys trying to be savior or hero or something, but no, it's just for the sake of advocate your peers or your social circle. So moving on, I will be talking about my personal advocacy journey. Uh, First, I would like to talk about AOD Sekolah Diversity, which is a camp, a 1-week camp in Janda Bayi Pahang, which is so great. Basically, they gather around like 35 students, like from the age of 15 to 17, in a resort where we thought it was just a fun camp or something, but no, it's totally like like taking baby steps into the world of advocacy. And one highlight that I would like really want to share with you guys is the activity on my third day. Yeah, it was the third day where we were given a new IC, like a fake IC, of course. Like you have a new name, new race, new age, and where you're from. You have a whole new identity. So like for the next 24 hours, you will be treated with that identity. So it's basically like there's a lot of inequality. There's a lot of unfairness of like how you get treated. For example, in the morning when we wanted to get our breakfast, they will check our IC first. If you are that certain race, oh, you just get in. If you are that certain race, oh, let me spot check you first, and like a lot more lah. But it's basically like gives us a reality of current Malaysia and their bias something. Yeah, but overall I really love that camp. They really sparked the it's like a calling, it's like a wake-up call, you know, like, oh, you should do something for your country so that it will be becoming like better lah. But not taking big steps in like the politics world, but it's a good journey lah, like to give you an idea of advocacy. And the second one is Student Summit 2023. This was like the peak, okay? I'm saying it's the peak because I was part of the panelists where we talk about school environment and what we did to make it better, stuff like that, like just like a sharing session. We invite there was like over 70 students from all across Malaysia gathered at the Citibank building in KL. It was really eye-opening because we discovered a lot of things that we did not like. How certain schools study for this, that, how's the environment. So like everybody had a different background in learnings and all. So I think the highlight from Student Summit would be the one I joined, which is my age group, my school group, where they talk about how certain people study science in their school and they managed to get straight A's, and how people from other school, they did the same, but most of them are failing. So what we did wrong. So we back to back sharing what we did and all that, and they go back to their school and then they share again to their peers or batchmates and their teachers. So this is networking like advocacy. It's not only impacting you impact the school as well. So it's like a web, you know. Yeah, not only after you learn things from this student summit, you go back home and then you like spread the lessons as well, something like that. So for me, this is advocacy as well. And the last one would be Lugos Witting Digital Team. So Lugos is basically my school name, and then that's my team. So I'm just going to jump straight into my Lugos Witting Digital Team advocacy journey. Okay, so last time we have like 5 challenge statement, yeah. So we find like a lot of people might still not have an idea of like what is advocacy and all right, how do I do this on social media? How do I tell people that this is important on social media and so on? So this is basically how we, my team, how we start small in advocating. First of all, we find issue that is relatable or close to heart. So for example, my teammate, this like one person, he was super active on TikTok and social media. He was like an influencer or something, but he often get like cyberbullied on comment section. He often get like hate comments or like a person like trolling him something. So we chose the topic that is relatable, which is how to stay safe online and how do you make sure other feel safe when expressing themselves online. So that's what we chose initially. But before you, let's say like you don't have any like relatable experiences to like how you want to choose the statement, right? So what you should do is you should do like research on all 5 of them and just pick the one that you think is super relatable. Like, yeah, this is so true. I face this same struggles too. So why not just go for it? And then the second one would be self-educate and research. What we did was we went on Facebook fine print and we read like how to like protect your own data and stuff like that. But we found out that it's not actually helpful for our topic, but it's fine. We went through the fine prints of like the terms and policy, which many people just read like, oh, I agree, skip, sign up, something. So basically, yeah, our account, our team mostly focuses on how to stay safe online, because that time in 2021 it was the peak of COVID-19, right? Everyone is on their phone, everyone is on social media. So we think like, okay, yeah, that is the perfect timing to educate people on how to turn off the comment section, how to block, how to let people out of your followers, like as in if you accidentally like approve them or something, and like a lot more lah. So self-educate is really important, and you can do it in so many ways. You have YouTube, you have like other advocacy account probably you can learn from. It's just that you make things in like much simpler ways so you can make your audience understand on something. And last one would be create posts on social media. This one would be, you need all your juicy brain creative brains lah for this. Make sure that your post is not too dull, it's not too blank, it's just like 2 colors or something. No, don't do that. You want your audience to be like engaged to your post, you know, like, yeah, this account is so cool, like I want to read more. Like you can look, for example, with like from real advocacy account on social media. Make sure you use colors, not too many like weird fonts or something. Use the one that is readable, use the one that is attractive but not too wordy. Make sure not to put like too much word or something. And then on social media, right, you would want to make sure you have new audience. Like you don't want like, you can't just like tell your friends, your family, oh guys, follow our account, support our account. I mean, yeah, sure, that is not wrong, but what you can do is you can use like hashtags, or you can use like, you know, those like weird transition video marketing on like TikTok or Instagram Reels. You can do that too, like you know, those like weird transitions on, you guys know like what I'm talking about if you're active on social media. Yeah, make sure you guys like gain like new audiences who actually follows you because you advocate. Okay, so I think, yeah, that's all from my sharing on like how to start small in advocacy. So these are the tips before I leave. So first of all, be passionate. Seriously, like you would want to like be authentic and like say what you have to say. Like if you find this important, then tell people that it is important. Okay, so like be passionate in what you're doing and be authentic lah, of course, not like stealing contents. Yeah, don't do that. Okay, like be authentic. And the second one is good time management. Okay, so back in my days, there's like 5 of us in one group. I'm not sure now how lah. So basically like everybody has like different schedule, different like time. Some goes to tuition, some like got extra class or something. So make sure you guys have good communication as well, because like let's say 2 of you are like from the creative department who are like super good in like editing on Canva or Photoshop something, and then the rest here is like all good in doing research or something. Make sure you guys have time to like discuss together. Like let's say today everyone cannot meet up together, that's fine, as long as you can like get the important people like to talk about the next step together, to actually discuss. It's fine if you guys like cannot meet up every day or something, but at least make the discussion happen. Always stay in touch. Yeah, always connect with each other. And lastly, effective communication. Tell your teammates like, oh, I cannot attend the meeting. I did it this time later. Can you guys like cover me? So this is what I have done so far. You guys can discuss it later. And after you discuss, you guys just tell me like everything works, okay? So all of you need to be like very caring with your teammate. Have to be like, keep on updating your teammate and something, okay? So yeah, I think that's what makes a good team. Okay, that's all from me. Best of luck, guys. Remember, each small steps towards advocacy is better than nothing at all, okay? You are the change maker of tomorrow. I think that's all from me. And thank you, Miss Gwen and Mr. Patrick and Miss, sorry, for having me today, okay? That's all from me. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Mazira. Yes, I can tell you are trying to meet time, but cannot leave yet because we have some questions for you. Thank you so much for your sharing. I'll go straight into it. So the first question, we'll start easy. How did you feel when you got to top 10 for the We Think Digital competition?
I was super grateful because there's like over 80 teams or something, like 80 teams, I think. Like, how can we manage to get into top 10? It was pretty unpredictable. We just did it like, it's COVID season. There's not much competition to join. So like we found it, yeah, we decided to give it a go. Why not? And we managed to get top 10. I was like, oh wow. It was unpredictable, but we're super grateful.
Wonderful and very well deserved. So, how did you find, your topic that would interest others and educate them at the same time?
Oh, how do I find
Yeah, how
interest
did you
in
find it?
okay, so like I said, like from the first step, find the one that is closest to heart. Like, okay, take a simple scenario or an issue or something. Like, let's say I was on social media or something, I'm facing this that problem, I should do something about this. So just find the one that you need or find the one that you feel like closest to heart. If you're talking specifically about WTD, find the one that is easy, like I said, easy to like advocate or something, the one that is easy for people to understand, lah, I think. Yeah.
Interest and easy. Okay, got it. Thank you. And last question. So how do we convince adults? I always struggle with that because they don't want to listen to me.
Okay,
How do you balance that? Yeah.
okay, this is a very broad topic, but I'll just focus on the advocacy thingy. How do we
Yeah.
convince them is that try when you're explaining your problems to them, try to put them in your shoes. Like, what if like your teacher or something, teacher, what if you're like facing this, like what would you do or something? Like, try to like shift the story to their side. Like, how would you feel if you this that? Like, try to make them relatable. Making adults feeling relatable to you is like very important so that they would understand that.
Oh, I love that so much. I feel like for anyone, not just adults, right? As long as you're trying to be relatable to them, imagining what they are going through, then only you can speak to
True.
them. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Mazira, for sharing your experience, your knowledge, your wisdom with all of us here today. I'm sure we will see more of you throughout the We Think Digital journey this year.
Who
So,
knows?
yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. I hope everyone got something out of that sharing just now, but the learning doesn't stop here because up next we have our two speakers for today, Ms. Renu and also Mr. Jit, both from Yayasan Teguh Abdul Rahman. So Renu is the Senior Marketing and Partnerships Executive at Vitar, and she has built the brand and established a strong social media presence over the past 4 years of her time there. She's also very active, supporting other nonprofit organizations and social media activism pages to boost their online presence and engagement. Jit is also very active in the activism scene, but he uses art and advocacy to tell different stories. He is also the Chief Everything Officer at Suara Mai. You can check them out on Instagram, which is a social advocacy project. So today, both of them are going to be sharing their wealth of knowledge with you so that you know how to create an awesome digital campaign. So without further ado, Reinu and Jit.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Gwen, for having us here. Thank you. And thank you for being here, everyone. Being here is the first step towards your digital advocacy journey, right? Thank you so much for also the introduction. So we won't be doing too much introductions about ourselves. My name is Jade. With me here today is Reinu. And we'll be talking about digital advocacy. So if I could just check, can everyone see the slides? If you can see the slides, give me a thumbs up. Right, fantastic, fantastic. I do see some thumbs. All right, very nice. So today we'll be talking about, we'll be sharing a very brief guide to digital advocacy. When we say very brief, we don't have too much time to get into some of the details, but if you have a question, do write it down and later on, I think we will be able to have a Q&A session. Or if you would like to message us after this, you want to have a follow-up conversation, want to learn a little bit more, I think we are very happy to speak to you about it. All right. So digital advocacy, we might be talking about some things you might have touched on in previous webinars, but today is the day you start to bring it all together. Because advocacy is all about bringing people to a space to be aware of the issue, to understand the issue, but also to act on the issue. All right. So without further ado, let's get into it. Like I said, let's skip some of these introductions. Gwen did a great job introducing us. But yes, developing a digital advocacy campaign, it sounds very scary, right? We understandably, right? And we were there before. So we're here to help you to understand the process maybe a little bit better. And don't worry, you will be okay. So I would like you to remember this acronym, OK, right? What does OK stand for? OK stands for objectives, key messages, audience, activities, and yes, and what do those mean? Let me get into that. Okay, objectives. What do you aim to achieve with your digital advocacy campaign? Okay, key messages. What do you want to say through your campaign? And A, audience. Who do you want to reach through your campaign? Another A, activities. How do you want to reach them? What are some activities you can do to reach this audience? Why? Yes, and. How do I take things to the next level, right? So if you have this whole campaign, what's next? How do you take things to the next level? Let's just dive into it, all right? Let's just go into objectives immediately. Now, to understand objectives, like your objective of your advocacy campaign, it's very important to understand why do we advocate for things. Because it's very easy to fall into a trap of immediately thinking of how do we do it, right? How do we design a poster? How do we edit the video? What should we do? Who should we engage with? Maybe we should invite an influencer. But it's very easy to fall into that trap without first understanding why, right? Why do we want to advocate for things in the first place? And we have looked through this, we've taken some time to think about it. And we think that digital advocacy serves three main purposes. Firstly, is to provide a perspective that helps the audience to critically engage with the topic. It's a story that you can't just Google and find on the news. It should challenge the audience and your viewers to understand the news or the issue critically, right? Secondly, it is to give words to the audience's thoughts and feelings. How many of us have had feelings about a certain issue, about a certain topic that we are unable to perhaps put into words? Advocacy is to help your audience get those words out, right? To understand what they are feeling and what they are thinking of when it comes to a certain issue. Last but not least, we think that digital advocacy also serves the purpose of providing a platform for the audience's words, right? Because advocacy doesn't just need to be you sharing to the audience, but also allowing your audience to share what they think, to have that discourse, to have that discussion, right? To share what they think about a certain topic rather than just you sharing with them. Now let's look at this through an example. I hope that all of you had a look at this case study. It was a link that was shared with you before today. But if you haven't, you can scan this QR code and you can have a look at a Instagram story campaign that was put out by the social media advocacy page Swara, which I run. So this campaign it's a mini campaign. It's called #Undi Kerana, and it was posted in 2022, nearing the 15th general election that we had in Malaysia. All of you would be due to vote soon when you reach the age of 18, and this is something that you might experience within a few years, right? So what happened in this campaign is that we provided templates for our audience to share the reasons that they have for going out to vote that general election. We provided these templates to them in different languages. And as you can see, the very first slide here says, every vote is a voice and every vote is a story. Right? Setiap undi adalah satu suara, setiap undi adalah satu cerita. And when we go back to the purposes of advocacy that we talked about, we've seen so many different responses coming out from the people who reposted these templates. For example, this reposter talked about automatic citizenship for Malaysian mothers overseas born children. Because if you are a Malaysian mother who has given birth to a child overseas, not in Malaysia, you are unable to automatically grant citizenship or to be called a Malaysian to your children, right? And that was a reason, there was a cause for this particular reposter to want to go and vote. And then through their story, we could provide a perspective for other people to engage with this topic. Oh, this is what my fellow Malaysian is concerned about. Maybe I should read more about automatic citizenship in Malaysia. And this is how we can provide a perspective that helps the audience to critically engage with the topic, right? For this reposter, they literally only used 2 words. They said, saya undi kerana aku penat, which means I'm tired, right? And I believe many who have seen this reposter would have gone, that perfectly captures what I am feeling, right? And through our audience story, our other members of the audience engaging with the content might agree and might find the words to explain what they're actually feeling about a certain issue. And of course, most obviously in this campaign, our audience also have a platform to say what they want to say. This reposter talked about sistem pendidikan yang lebih efektif, right? They talked about how education is the pulse of the country, but we are lacking behind in this sector. Digital advocacy's strength is in the voice that it gives to the people who may have been silenced under other circumstances. And your advocacy campaign can help to bring out that voice. So that brings us to part 2. K. K stands for key message. Our mini campaign had a very clear key message, which was for every vote carries a story. So go and tell your story with your vote. Now, when you come up with a key message for digital advocacy, it needs to be all of these 3 things. It needs to be clear. Keep it simple. Instead of saying, let's say if you are talking about sustainability and environment, instead of saying the sustainability of our environment is contingent upon the reduction of carbon emissions, oh, that's so long and unclear. Instead, say to save our planet, we need to reduce carbon emissions. That is clear, simple, and easy for your audience to digest. Moving forward is focused. Stick to one main idea at a time. If you notice in our example, our main idea was to go out and vote, right? And if you are talking about the importance of recycling, for example, don't mix in other unrelated topics like water conservation, maybe using EVs. Those are not related to your main topic, the importance of recycling. Keep it focused. Thirdly, keep things relevant. Find out what matters to the people you are reaching with your advocacy. If you are reaching out to your friends, your high school students who care about you want them to care more about politics. Maybe your key message might be that politics affects everything that you as a student care about. And that includes the public transport you take, the bubble tea that you drink, the college they want to apply to. All this is affected by politics. So that might be your key message. Think about what your audience care about. And that actually brings us to your audience, right? Every advocacy needs an audience and has an audience. So ask yourself these questions when you are determining who your audience are. You can ask demographic questions. Who are they? How old are they? What languages do they use? What communities do they come from? What social media platforms do they use? What you can also ask behavioral and contextual questions, right? For example, what causes do they care about? What issues do they care about? How do they engage with social issues online? What do they already know about the issue, or what do they not know about the issue? All these are questions that can help you understand who your audiences are. And why are they important? They're very important because it will help you determine the platforms, the language, and the level of complexity that you may choose to use. For example, if your main audience is young people, right? You may decide to use memes, trending audios, TikTok trends, or so on and so forth, right? You might want to use sounds that you can get on Instagram Reels, right? But if your audience is older, all right, an infographic that you can post on Instagram, carousel that you can post on Instagram might do better, right? And that brings us to the activities, the content that you can put into, they can deliver to your audience. And now Renu is going to share about that.
Thank you, Jit. So we just talked about O, K, and A, right? And we're on to the next A, which is activities. That has a lot to do with your audience. Now that you've probably determined your audience for your advocacy campaign, it's important to think, what are the activities that you're going to be working on? So when we think about content, there are so many different formats, right? Every now and then, there's probably a new feature that is a content format that you can consider, from text writing to videos, short and long forms, reels, live streams, carousel posts, channels, you name it, there's quite a variety. But one important thing to determine what content format, sorry, next slide, would be a few things, right? Is that when you are deciding on content formats, you can mix and match formats, right? It's also about experimenting what your audience likes, what your audience is engaging with. So sometimes you can use different mediums like stories, reels, carousels, instead of just sticking to one medium or format only. Second is to think about an audience-centric approach, right? Depending on who your audience is, you might want to decide on a format that they like. So if your audience prefers videos instead of like visuals to help them, instead of having long text to read, then you might want to cater to that and use videos and reels instead. So it's very important to know who your audience is to decide on content formats. Next. Once we've figured out, some of these formats that we want to use, it's important to then have a plan, right? And there are three important things that you need to consider when you're thinking about planning the content that you want to put out for your advocacy campaign. The first thing is a strategy. This is very important to identify what themes or topics are important and that align with your goal and target audience, right? So it's important to know what your strategy is before you get to it. Second is to ideate, right? Now that you have a strategy, let's think about some ideas, brainstorm content ideas based on the themes or main topics, right? And here's the thing, when we ideate, we will come up with a list of ideas, but you can't do them all sometimes. So you've got to plan your social media advocacy campaign accordingly. You might have to come up with a timeline to decide what you're going to post, when you're going to post it, and what platforms you're going to do it, going to post it on. And this is very helpful because sometimes a social media advocacy campaign can be very, very overwhelming when we feel like we need to do it all, right? But sometimes it's about choosing what we want to post and what's important to be posted, right? So planning is very important and creating a timeline helps. Next,
we talk about, sorry, next slide. Okay, we talk about creating content, right? Now that we have a plan, what are we going to then create, right? And sometimes when we think about creating content, we think that we've got to create content that's long form, like long videos. We've got to create carousel posts with 10 pages of information about a topic. But here's the thing. Content can be so varied, right? You can have content that's factual. You can have content that's, of stories and memes. So let's talk about factual content. This is an example from Swara on a content about domestic violence that was happening during the pandemic. And so this is a post that was factual with research data-backed information about the issue that was happening, right? So factual content is great, right? It helps your audience learn about a topic and so on and so forth. But next is something that's quite interesting and very, very powerful is on stories, right? The power of the power that storytelling has in advocacy is something that you should always try to use in your advocacy journeys, right? By highlighting a particular topic using a personal story. So this example is from the organization that I work with. We provide scholarships for students from underserved communities. And this was a story about our scholar, Sharniza, who set up a water pump system in her village, right? And we wanted to share that there are amazing young people out there who are already working on community projects as students themselves, right? And the next one is something funny. People usually don't think of this as one of the first things to think about when they're coming up with an advocacy campaign, but trust me, it's one of those methods to really engage with your audience. And it's memes, right? To add humor to your content, or even using trending audios, right? I know, like when I think about trending audios, I've got so many that come to mind. And whenever I look or hear them, I'm like, oh, this would be perfect for an advocacy campaign, right? I'm sure there's so many that are like trending right now, and trends change, right? So you can also hop on the bandwagon to use some of these trending audios and memes for your advocacy campaign, right? So this particular one was something that I used for advocacy a campaign as part of Closing the Gap, which is another account that I manage. So you can see that you can use factual information all the way to memes in your content creation. But here's the thing, you don't always have to create content, right? You don't always have to be the one looking for information, piecing it together, designing it. Sometimes it's very, very powerful to also share content that's already existing available, maybe made by other organizations or individuals that you can help share and boost. So how do you then decide what information you should share? There are 3 things to think about. The first thing is to choose relevant content, right? If your campaign is about anti-bullying, then you might want to share resources by organizations working on anti-bullying campaigns, or perhaps like journalism videos available out there. So choose relevant content to share. Right? Second is to credit the original source. This is very important for 2 reasons. One is the obvious, to give credit to the people who've put in the labor and time to make that particular piece of content. But the second one is so that your audience can find the reference and to learn more about it, right? So it's always important to credit the original source. Lastly is to add your own thoughts, right? Share with the audience, what do you think about this news article that you're sharing? What do you think about this research that was done? And add your own thoughts or summarize it sometimes, right? It adds a bit of like, it's a good finishing to a shared content. Okay, next. Let's go on to, now that we've talked about creating content, planning about it, sharing content, what's a very important thing to do about, other than just content creation, is to think about how can you then change that to action, right? You want to encourage people to take action, to do something about your advocacy campaign. So there are 3 things I want to highlight. The first is a call to action. It's very important. I think it's obvious. The word action is right there. And this is something thing I think YouTubers do it really well. Like whenever we joke, we say like, oh, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share my video, right? That's a call to action. And these are things that you can include in all your different content formats, be it a video, be it a story. And what you can ask your audience to do is either follow you, comment, share, like, sign a petition about something, or to donate to your cause. So that's a call to action. That's how you encourage engagement from your audience. The second one is interaction. Interaction is something that you can get creative, right? The Undi Kerana campaign was something that used interaction. We got our audience to fill in templates, but you can also explore things like polls, quizzes, and so many other engaging formats that are available based on the features in the social media platforms that you choose to use. And lastly, it's on being responsive, right? If we want to engage an audience, we want them to care about an issue, it's important that we be responsive to their questions, to their comments or messages. And it's important to even engage with people who disagree with us to help move them from people who disagree or don't support your cause to people who support your cause, right? So those are some things that you need to remember. It's not about just creating content, it's about getting people to take action about the content that you're creating. Okay, and then let's go to the last part, which is of the OK acronym, which is the why. Yes, and it's very important for us to consider what happens beyond our social media campaign, right? The digital advocacy platform is amazing. You can do so many things, but we need to acknowledge that there are also limitations, right? And so to ensure that we cover all the different areas that we can engage with people, it's important to go offline, speak to people physically, people in school, through your clubs and societies, to get them to learn about your advocacy campaign. The second is to collaborate with people, be it influencers, experts, or cross-promote it with other organizations or nonprofits, and communicate. I think it's very important to communicate with people even outside your social media platforms. For example, you can share information about your campaign over WhatsApp in WhatsApp groups, or send emails or newsletters to people to redirect them to your social media platform. And so this is something like, for example, Jade, myself do. So with the Undi Kerana campaign, we shared some of those things with friends outside social media circles to get them to engage with it and participate. So that's the OK acronym. And so to just recap, onto the next slide, Jit, just remember that OK is an acronym that you can use when you're planning your social media campaign. And once you've got these key things, you should be good to go. All right. So if you've got any questions for Jit and myself, you can speak to us. We are on social media, we are on email, or our phone numbers are here too. You can just drop us any questions that you may have. All right, perhaps we can go to the Q&A session for you to ask us any questions you may have about what we've just shared.
So thank you so much, Renuga and Jit. I'm going to share the Mentimeter screen now and begin the Q&A session. So we have some interesting questions so far. First one, can I relate stories or memes to real life issues?
Definitely. Stories can be relatable, so you can interview people that are relevant to the issues that you're talking about. Memes, I think they're perfect to be used in the context of real life issues, right? So let me just take an example. Perhaps it's about an issue, for example, when we change school shoes from white to black, and then the meme can be about you trying to look for black shoes, but they're sold out everywhere, right? So those are some of the things that you can do, but they definitely can be used for real life issues. Do you have anything to add?
Yes. Humor is a great way to talk about issues, right? It's a great way to draw attention to issues, especially if people who are used to reading serious articles, serious posts. Humor is one way to be able to get them to be actually to actually care about what's going on. Yeah, that's why comedians actually talk about real life issues as well, right? They don't just make jokes for the sake of making jokes. Yeah, so I think that's you can definitely use these things.
Awesome, thank you. So I guess with, you know, memes and humor, it may offend people. So how does one advocate respectfully, you know, when you don't want to offend someone, people?
That's a great question. And we can actually go into a whole session about this. But in terms of being respectful, firstly, of course, you have to understand the climate of the audience that you are speaking to, which is why one of the steps in OK is understanding your audience, right? But also, you also would need to be to understand that you will in some way offend someone, like no matter what you're saying, right? There are going to be people who disagree with you, right? But as long as you are able to back the things that you're saying with evidence, you have the support of perhaps in civil society people who believe in the cause, and you are able to evidence is one of the most important things. Then that it's fine. It's fine if people are offended sometimes, right? But as long as you're able to back it with evidence. Rainu, do you want to add anything with
Yeah.
that?
I think one thing is to remember to have some core values that you believe in or principles that help you guide your advocacy. So for me, being like culturally sensitive is very important, right? So what are cultural sensitivities that I will take into account in my advocacy? So you need to think about what's important to you. But the second thing that I recommend is always, perhaps if you feel unsure, test it out with people you trust or have expertise in this area. So sometimes when some of us create content, we would ask each other like, hey, what do you think about this? And test it out. And if you make mistakes, I think it's okay too. It's sometimes about owning up to those mistakes that we make in the process. But on this, advocating respectfully, you can actually check out some of the posts on Swara's page and see how Jin has navigated around designing, writing, and responding respectfully. Yeah.
Perfect. I think that leads perfectly into like any other examples of social media advocacy campaigns that the students can refer to, other than Swara, of course.
I think we have a list. Maybe what we will do, Gwen, is to perhaps compile some of these that we can share. Like off the top of our head, we have a few, but maybe we could like compile it by topic and then students can like look at those pages accordingly.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And just one last question that I can see here, which is, I want to collaborate with an NGO for my advocacy campaign. What should be my first step?
Firstly, I want to commend you for wanting to do that, because collaboration is a very key thing in advocacy. There's so much work to be done in all of these spaces, but we cannot do them all. Collaboration is so important. So good job on thinking about that. What should be your first step? You can go and look on their websites to see if they have a contact us page or they have an email or even a social media page that you can just message them with, right? But before you message them, identify what are the things that you want to collaborate with them on, right? Whether or not you have a specific idea in mind, whether or not you have you would like to engage with them to speak in your event, or you want to work on the campaign together. What is it, right? So then you can message them. Like that is the most direct way you can collaborate with any NGO. Just message them, right? But of course, do it respectfully, do it professionally, and you'll be good to go, right? Many NGOs are very, very happy to engage with you and to collaborate with you. Just reach out. That's my best advice for you.
Thanks, Jit. All right, sorry, one last question.
Yeah.
If we use any picture or video and we don't give any credit to the real owner of the picture because we don't know who it is, what should we do?
Do you want to take that, Jit, and I'll add on?
Yeah, sure. Um, this is a valid question, right? Because sometimes with pictures that are flowing all around the internet, it's very hard to find who's the original owner. I would say really do your due diligence to really search first. That's your step one, to really search to see who might have been the original poster. An easy way to do this is to use reverse image search on the search browsers that you are using, right? Whether it's Microsoft, Google, Microsoft Edge, Google, wherever lah, right? Whatever, Bing. There are reverse image searches that you can use, and they will identify for you where these images are coming from. That's one way. If you're really unable to do it, it is fine, but own up to it, right? You can say in the caption that that this image is currently uncredited because you're unable to find the original owner, and it's completely fine. But just be honest about it, and it's okay.
If I
Arena?
can add, sometimes if like especially if the images are of people, children, be cautious about the images that you use. I also encourage sometimes using alternative illustrations. So for example, maybe illustrations that you can get of like icons or other websites or drawings. So sometimes you don't have to use the exact image. You can also think about other creative ways that you want to like visually showcase something. Yeah.
Yep, correct. If you are unable to find the source of that particular image, perhaps the question to ask is also, do I need to use that particular image or video, or is there something else I can use that has a credit, right? And of course, try as much as possible to ask them for consent to use the pictures or videos or collateral before you actually use it.
But great question. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. I think that's all the questions that we have today. But we're going to add Renuga and Jit's LinkedIn and also the Swara page into the Zoom chat. So if you have more burning questions for them, I'm sure they'll be happy to connect and answer your questions. But for now, thank you so, so much for your time and knowledge, Jit and Renu. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, we would love to have you back for like an additional workshop.
I'll be happy to do that. Yeah. Just
Yay.
let us know if you have any questions or if you like feedback on your advocacy campaign. We're happy to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Thank
Thank you so, so
you.
much for your time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Hope everyone learned a lot from the session. I know I personally did. So we will move ahead and go straight into our reflection and feedback session for this webinar over here. So you can choose to either scan the QR code or click the link in the chat. We will spend about 10 minutes, so do take your time to really fill in the details and think about what you learned from this session, just to consolidate everything. And please do not leave after filling in your feedback form, because we will be announcing the campaign proposal guidelines, which is very, very important for you to know before you start doing your campaign proposal. Thank you to those who responded. We will move on to the next session once we have maybe 40 and hopefully 50% have responded. All right, another minute and a half to go. Thank you to those who responded so far. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. 97, 98 responses so far. For those who wasn't able to finish filling in the forms, you can fill it in after this session, and you have until 30th of June to complete it. Right, so I'm gonna change screens now. Screen slideshow. Okay. Right, so now moving into announcements. Again, another reminder, the last day to complete your microsite is 30th of June, which is this Sunday. Thank you to those who already finished. For those who haven't, you have a few more days to finish it. Remember, this is a requirement to submit your campaign proposal as well. And if you take the quiz more than once, no worries now, your latest score will be updated. So don't need to update us anymore, it will be automatic. And another good news is that we have increased the number of finalists. So instead of top 15, this year we are taking top 20. So yay, more chances. All right, so now moving into the most important announcement for today, which is the campaign proposal briefing. We have already uploaded the campaign proposal guidelines onto the microsite, so you can find it there, or you can also scan here now for your own reference. So now I'm going to walk you through the guidelines. So there are a few instructions and requirements for you to submit your proposal. So first is, of course, to choose one challenge statement. It's on slide 4, which I will show later on, but there's 4 challenge statements and you just need to choose one for each team. And then you need to come up with a proposal deck, which is a PowerPoint slides, and also a video based on the challenge statement that you chose. And inside the campaign proposal deck, it should include campaign objective, who is your target audience, what platforms did you choose? It has to be Meta platforms only, but it can be more than one. So Facebook and Instagram, or Instagram, I'm not sure, Twitter or X. And just list a brief description of your proposed activities. You can view a sample here in the link, big red big green word, and your deck has to be in PowerPoint format with no more than 5 slides. Next, you also need to do a video, and your video is less than 3 minutes pitching your proposal, either in English or Bahasa Melayu pun boleh. And the final presentation of the top 20 teams will be on the 12th of October. However, for that presentation, it has to be in English. So yes, your video can be in Malay, but if you do make it to top 20, then you have to present in English. All right, the next is be sure to include why you should be one of the top 20 finalists. So you can include this in your video. And once you're done with your deck and also your video, you can submit it at this link over here. It will be a Google form. And the last day to submit will be the 31st of July. So you have more than 1 month starting from today to complete your campaign proposal. And these are the challenge statements for this year. So first is, how can young people partner with adults to express themselves safely online? Second is, how can we empower youngsters to build a supportive community that protects children from online violence? Third, how can young people empower more peers to take actions to eliminate cyberbullying for a healthier cyberspace? And last is, how can young people take advantage of social media to increase awareness and prevention on scams? All right, so from the sharings today, choose a topic that resonates most with you, that you are passionate about, that you care about, and make your campaign proposal from that. So some other criteria that you need to take into consideration is, first, all students should be in the video presentation. So everyone in your team. And everyone in your team should also speak in the video, either in English or BM. Both also can. But again, the 12th October presentation, everyone needs to speak in English. And the other criteria, like I mentioned, everyone needs to complete the We Think Digital online modules by the 30th of June, which is the microsite. So again, the top 20 teams will be chosen on merit, not based on the state representation. And lastly, is the judging criteria. So how will we judge your campaign proposal and choose the top 20? So there are 6 categories here: issue identification, issue analysis, objectives, creativity, effectiveness, and presentation style. So for issue identification, you want to see that if the topic you've chosen is relevant to the challenge statement, is it important and specific enough, and who does it affect, which is your target audience. And issue analysis. So what can you do to effectively explain your issue in a way that is compelling and understandable to your target audience? So if you know it's a younger age group, what can you say? Like Mazira mentioned, right? Sometimes you can use slang or things that they can understand, but of course for us to understand too, please. And will my campaign provide relevant and reasonable solution to my target audience? And objectives. So when you list down your objectives, how will it answer the challenge statement? And creativity, how unique and creative are you in presenting your message? What kind of tools can you use to deliver your message? And is your solution creative? Next is effectiveness. So making sure your proposal is clear and concise, making sure there's enough details that gives us a full picture of your idea so we understand what you want to do. And lastly is, can you realistically execute what you have proposed? All the activities that you mentioned, is it something that you're able to do? And lastly is presentation style. Are all your points presented clearly on the slides and also in the video? And also is every team member present in the video? So when you are coming up with your campaign proposal, just make sure to keep referring to this judging criteria and see if you answer these questions. If your answer is yes to all of them, there's a very high chance that you will be in the top 20. So all the best. And if you have any questions, you can contact us on the Telegram channel, WTD 2024. Here is all of the important links that you need. It will also be sent in the Zoom chat. So if you have any questions, just let us know. Right, and if you also prefer to, you can also email us at studentleadership@teachformalaysia.org. And lastly now, let's take a picture. Yes, and before that though, do remember to fill in your feedback form by the 30th of June. All right, I'm going to start sharing screen now.